And now, a three-time sports editor, former online and managing editor, and host of Talk That Talk, award-winning journalist Terrell Chatterbox Emerson.
Welcome to it. Welcome to it. It is 10 o'clock on a Thursday night, so you guys know what time it is. It is time for Talk That Talk. I'm your host, Terrell Chatterbox Emerson. I am in studio on this beautiful Thursday night with somebody that you guys probably missed because Markel Collins is back in the building with us. Kel,
I'm so happy to be back, man. Our listeners may not. I was going through it.
yeah, you went through some, boy.
You ever been so sick to where it feel like you on your deathbed? You just like, I can't go this way at 26. There's no way. Like, there's no way. like, there's no way. There's no way. Like, Jesus
He said there's no way.
Jesus couldn't have wanted it this way. But you know, flu season, man. You know, I got.
Are you good?
I don't know if I'm okay at this point.
Happening already.
But yeah,
My Lord.
definitely have to be healthy.
Are you healthy? You sure? God,
Hey man,
I can answer that. That worries me.
I am healthy. You know,
We gonna see. We gonna see what everything looks like. But again, happy Thursday to you and yours. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Talk That Talk radio show. I am your host, Chatterbox Emerson, in studio with Markel Collins. Episode 20 of season 7, man. And we just got to spring, so I'm pretty excited about that. Should we do this? So first of all, I'm just gonna ask you now. I feel like you're gonna say yeah, but this is episode 346, right? And I didn't start counting until we got here to UNLV. So none of my Cerrito shows are included in there. None of our one-off shows before we started anything at UNLV is included in that 346. These are just shows that we've done since we've been here in Vegas. So I haven't done any milestone shows. I haven't done 100. I haven't done 150. I think I kind of mentioned 300.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. Should I wait till 500 to do something, or should we do it at 4? Because we had 346, so I got to start planning.
4, because you know 5 ain't promised.
You see what this guy just did? You see, no, just because he went through what he went through, he was like, "Let me see 400 just in case." You know, Markel, let's get to some sports talk, brother, because I don't know where you're trying to take us today. But let's get to it, man. Let's start with my mom's tip in. We'll get to socials. We'll do all of that stuff as we typically do. Let's do our mom's tip in now, because I like this one for a couple different reasons. But never regret a day in your life. Good days give you happiness. Bad days give you experience. The worst days give you lessons. The best days give you memories. Shout out to my mom for that tip in. I like that one a lot for different reasons. Again, if you guys would like to watch our live stream, all you have to do is go to YouTube, go to the search bar, type in Talk That Talk Radio Show. Once again, all you have to do is go to YouTube, go to the search bar, type in Talk That Talk Radio Show. It's pretty much the same across every platform. You guys can go ahead and do that on Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It would be the same across every platform except for Twitter. Twitter is at Talk That Talk LV. Once again, guys, Twitter is at Talk That Talk LV. I've been smiling uncontrollably since this show started. Since before this show started, rather. And let's just get right to it, man. Let's just get right to it. UNLV has a new lead man in Josh Pastner. He was introduced as the new head coach yesterday. Markel, first of all, you know what's crazy? It doesn't matter what I say the rest of this particular segment.
Yeah.
The fact that I just said what I said and I introed this topic and I kind of chuckled after the fact, that's going to live forever, regardless of what I say right now.
No, for sure, man. I mean, Josh Pastner. I mean, can we get another round of applause for UNLV? I mean, oh man, shout out to UNLV with the coaching hires lately. You guys just been outdoing yourselves. I mean, I mean, yeah, Shout out to the athletic department of UNLV. I mean, first you go out and get Dan Mullen on the football side, and then you come back and get Josh Pastner. Josh Pastner, he's somebody I've been a fan of since he was at Memphis. At Georgia Tech as well too. Put them stats here. Josh Pastner, he won 167 games in Memphis. Only lost 73. 2017 ACC Coach of the Year. He went 109 and 114 at Georgia Tech, but people don't let that record scare you because winning 109 games at Georgia Tech, first off, people, just getting into Georgia Tech from an academic standpoint is just so like it makes recruiting that much harder. So for him to be able to win, multiple games.
Yeah, I don't know if he's guys. This might have been a bad decision. This might have been a bad decision. I'm just letting y'all know.
Listen, I'm helping you guys. Listen, bro. Because I want to go through this the rest of the show.
You don't.
What? You ever have like a slight symptom, even though you're healthy now?
Doesn't that mean that you're not healthy though?
No, but I am healthy.
Open your eyes when you talk to me. Are you sure you got medicine in your system?
No.
All right, man. Just a point. My fault.
But yeah, Josh Pastner though, man, like huge hire. Happy for UNLV. I feel like that's the kind of coach they like needed in terms of recruiting as well too. A lot of players entered the portal.
Barry did today, officially. I believe he was the first person to enter after the coaching hire was announced. I'm gonna let you keep rocking for now. I do have points if you would like for me to get to mine, or you can go ahead and keep going. We got some time to discuss this.
Well, yeah. Outside of that,
you said you do your thing, because I don't want to say I had a question for you, but you talked about recruiting.
Oh, go ahead.
You want the first thing that went to my mind? Obviously, this collegiate world is different than it was 5 years ago, right?
Absolutely.
That said, I looked at the hire, and first thing that went through my mind was, oh hey, didn't he have some NCAA violations? That was the first thing that went through my mind. And then I sat back and I said, well, UNLV hasn't been able to win doing it the right way. Maybe they need to try the other way. That was the initial thing that went through my mind. And I was like, all right, this is obviously going to help in terms of recruiting, right? I misspoke on Monday. I said that he was an assistant at Georgia Tech in Memphis. My apologies. Obviously, he was a former lead man in both places. I'm not mad at the hire. I will say you're a little higher on it than I am. And again, it's not a knock on him. It's nothing of the sort. I think what it is for me is, did you listen to the introductory press conference?
I caught bits and pieces of it.
And the sad part is, I feel like people are going to look at us, like, especially me, and they're going to say, aren't you just repeating yourself? Think about how I feel. Did it sound familiar?
Yeah.
The same thing when Kevin got hired. And somebody did a side-by-side in terms of what TJ Otzelberger said and what Kevin Kruger said. And it was literally the same thing. It almost was like somebody slipped. Now, this one didn't go kind of off of the same thing, but we're here, as I mentioned before, in terms of UNLV. It feels like biding time, like just buying time. And what are we buying time for? Lord knows, right? This hire for me wasn't the most exciting hire for me. But at the same time, neither was Barry Odom. And we saw how that worked out for UNLV, right? Now, the proof is in the pudding in terms of Josh Pastner's past, no pun intended. But I do think it's worth noting, I don't think bringing a good coach in or bringing a proverbial bad coach in is what's going to make or break this program. I've said it before, And the more that people like Wink Adams and Anthony Marshall tweet, the more that I'm going to double down on my original point.
Yeah, it's I would say the only reason I'm so high on this hire is because I'm surprised a coach of that stature would even want to come to UNLV at this point.
Same thing we said about Dan Miller.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's more of a reflection of Vegas, like in the state of Vegas right now. I think big name coaches are seeing like the opportunity outside of just being a coach out here right now, and they see the opportunity that comes with that. So, I mean, you can't really blame them for like when they come out here. But I'll say the thing with Josh Pastner is he has a proven track record. I mean, he's a winner. Like I said, when ACC coach of the year at Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
getting recruits to come there. I mean, like the greatest player at Georgia Tech is Chris Bosh. Only other person I can think of would be Jose Alvarado.
I'm going a little further back, but I want to know where this person went, and I don't know how his college career went. So now I'm interested.
But yeah, like even with that, I mean, it's just his days in Memphis. I mean, you brought up the NCAA infractions. I mean,
he went to Michigan. Never mind.
Okay, so
my fault.
There we go. So I mean, especially at this point, like you said, like it's definitely a new era of college basketball, college sports, period. So like I mean, if you want to point it that with him, I feel like you had a point at the same with Rick Pitino.
I did.
Okay, that's fair then. That's fair.
When Rick Pitino was brought up, I said y'all want to bring him to Vegas. That man was wild in Kentucky. You think I'm not going to never mind. All right. No, but I'm with you. I'm with you, right? And I never once said Rick Pitino wasn't a bad coach. I just said UNLV, can you afford the bad press? And obviously you answered your own question. But this Josh Pastner hire, I haven't met the man. Obviously, haven't met him yet. But I will say this. Remember how I said that Kevin Kruger last year felt that at least I felt like he got that same text message I got, or he was feeling the exact same thing that expressed the same sentiments to that text message that I got. And last year, it felt like Kevin Kruger got to a point where he was like, well, if I'm coaching for my job, let's go all out. And we see IT bid and things of that nature. And then you kind of fast forward to this season, and it seemed like Kevin was uptight again in certain moments, right? I don't know that I've ever seen Josh Pastner uptight.
Me either.
And for me, I think that matters. So there's a person to me in this hire that doesn't appear that he's going to be rattled by this city. Doesn't appear that he's going to be rattled by national attention, considering everybody making fun of him in several stops, right? Again, wins come along with it. I always like people that never take themselves too serious, right? You should always be able to laugh. That might be exactly what this program needs just in terms of attitude. However, one thing I will mention, and I will just kind of throw in as a caveat, when Carlin Hartman left and he said something about the city of Vegas, the Knights fans specifically booing Jack Eichel, I think, or something like that. And he kind of was like, not the guy you want to boo, because when things go right, he's usually at the center of it. So it's not really the time to do that. And I'm not gonna lie, I laughed, but I think one of the first responses I saw was like, "You worry about the men's basketball team," and I was like, "Hey, that's hilarious." But everybody was kind of ripping into him. And Matthew Radford shot to Matthew after Matt came out and was like, "Well, I don't know if you guys really know who Carlin is. If he leaves, this program is in trouble just because he was the guy that held everybody accountable." Now, you don't have to be an in-your-face type of guy to hold everybody accountable, which we've seen Josh Pastner be able to do, right? Got some heavy endorsement players, got some heavy endorsements from some big-name college coaches, of course, but I feel like that's still going to be needed. Maybe it's just because I've been around this city or been around the program. You're still going to want somebody. If you're the happy-go-lucky guy, that's going to rip if they need it.
Yeah, that's
Somebody mentioned his coaching staff, and I'm waiting to see what that looks like too.
that's definitely needed. I mean, you mentioned it at times this season with Kevin. You said like you just wanted to see that fire, that Kevin played with as a coach as well too, and he always bring that. So, I feel like Josh Pastner. I feel like he's gonna bring that youthful energy that the program need at this point.
You saying Kevin was acting like an old man? Don't do that.
I'm
just saying what it's.
I'm not saying that, but like I just in terms of like the modern era of college basketball, I feel like obviously Kevin came from that coaching tree, of his dad, and that type of coaching style, So I mean, but this is a very this is one of the most interesting hires in UNLV history. Like I'm willing to go out and say that because like, especially on the basketball side, because like, can you name a hire this big? Like
The basketball.
ever?
What was Lon's direct stop before he got here? Now I gotta go look it up. But I mean, I'm looking now. But you can keep going.
Yeah, I know you obviously went to Oklahoma after you left here, but yeah, like I'm like on the football side, like it's bit like biggest hire was like Tony Sanchez, like in terms of like names at the time before his Dan Mullen hire.
Yeah, no, I would say Lon. Lon came directly from the Knicks. I would say Lon.
Okay, so we'll give it to him. But like outside of that, Josh is definitely right there. So I think in terms of recruiting, it's definitely helping in a major way. I feel like all the players he couldn't get at Georgia Tech, he's gonna start getting now because people are gonna
Really? What makes you think that?
Because I feel like people are gonna look back at this time in Memphis, and I feel like people, while he may have like taken those darts from like how things ended in Memphis, I feel like people will never stop to respect him as a coach. Because it'd be like for me, even me personally, it'd be times like I was flipping to the channel, see Georgia Tech playing, like, hey, that's Josh Pastner right there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be forgetting. So, oh yeah, by the way, I want to give a shout out to Iman Stewart too. My bad, another Georgia Tech player.
Oh, I was like, why are we shouting out Shump? All right, my fault.
I'm just saying we was naming Georgia Tech players, but
I'm with you. One of the greatest storytellers in basketball.
Move forward. Yeah. So
all right, never mind. Move on. Move on.
Yeah, but Josh Pastner, man, great hire for UNLV, man. I just can't see what he does on the recruit side. I was reading an article. They mentioned some players he might get in the portal. Somebody within the conference is Deion Collins. That's somebody who's a Vegas native. Went to Michigan, Fresno State. Might bring it home. I'm by no means shouting out Fresno State. I'm just saying, in the portal.
That's the reason why I gave that look. Did Fresno State get to the bottom of that point saving or the gambling scandal? You want to know who should not be here? You know what's interesting? And this will be new for me because I don't dislike the kid. I don't know the kid enough to dislike him, right? This would be new for me if he were to come to Vegas. That'd be interesting for me to cover him because I would bring it up. Sorry. There's an elephant in the room. And now there's two of them. I hope he doesn't actually bring Zion to UNLV.
Who would you like to see him get in the portal?
At this point, I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm focused on UNLV players that are entering the portal this present moment, right? For a couple different reasons, but I haven't done my due diligence in circulating through all of the players that are in the portal. But wouldn't it be a hell of a win if he keeps DJ? How we just start there?
Absolutely.
Again, like I said before, I don't know. I do think this helps him in terms of recruiting. I don't know to what. Again, I'm going to lean on history once again. And I know I may sound like a broken record, but that's fine. When you said that it was going to help him bring some players of like a higher caliber to UNLV, I'm not saying that it wouldn't, but when I asked you why you felt that way, because when he was at Georgia Tech, you could say whatever you want about Georgia Tech. Somebody said the same thing about Barry Odom. It was like, oh, wow, I can't believe he's leaving this program for Purdue. And I was looking at all of those comments and was like, wow, you're not thinking. One's a mid-major and one isn't. You can say whatever you want about Georgia Tech. You also just mentioned Iman Shumpert, Jose Alvarado, as well as Chris Bosh. 3 players that went to the league. Not saying that UNLV doesn't have that. However, if Georgia Tech is at the bottom of the ACC, it's still the ACC. So, in saying that, excuse me, that's why I'm going to lean on history, because that's what you're going to have to do if you want to take a kid that was intended to go to Florida State or transferring from a LSU, and you want him to come here to UNLV. What's going to be the selling point? Respectfully speaking, you know what's funny? This might have been last year. I'm watching San Diego State and UNLV warm up, right? And this is a women's game. And Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It comes on. And obviously, you know how the building reacts whenever that comes on. Players start to sing on the court. I see one player in particular. She said, "This is how we do it." And I watched her stop. And in the back of my mind, I locked in on her. And I was like, she doesn't know the words. And I went flipping. And I said, let me see when she was born. I saw when she was born, and I was like, oh, makes all sense in the world. She was born in 2003. She was born when I was trying to get my mom to buy me G-Unit do-rags. Like, no, you're laughing. I'm so dead ass right now. So my point in saying that is, you're going to have to tell a kid, why should I flip from where Ben Simmons went to come to UNLV? Here, let me tell you why. This is the cultural representation that this program had before. I'll say one last thing really quick. One of our alum, and I've forgotten his name right now. I don't know why it's escaping me. He's a season ticket holder for UNLV basketball. Obviously, when Trump originally went into office, everybody made like different versions of make whatever great, right? Shout out to my brother who made the make the hood again hat. I seen a hat that said "Make the Rebels Run Again." There's one way to do that, and you are gonna have to lean on history.
Yeah, they gotta win. I mean, obviously, Josh got to win his first season. Like he has to come out and set the tone. Like I said, this off season is gonna be big for him. He said he wants to get right to it. You know, he ain't on the wait. But yeah, they gotta win. I mean, like, especially like you said, like the Mountain West is a mid-major conference. It might be like on the upper end of mid-majors, but at the end of the day, it's still a mid-major conference. You know, hate to mention the rival, but they've dominated the league. Like in recent years, San Diego State set the standard. Whether we want to admit it or not, they set the standard.
I have no problem with San Diego State,
and they set the standard in the past years. And like, you know, through all the great players they had, people don't look at San Diego State as a major anymore.
No, they won't be starting next year.
Even with the down year they had this year, people still don't look at them as that.
They went to the tournament.
Exactly. And this was a down year for them. So, like, you're proving my point.
Same thing I said before, and I told somebody who I went to Cerritos with, who played on the basketball team, he said North Carolina's getting clapped. And that was the Ole Miss game. Like I told him, we've watched basketball far too long to not know what a good team looks like. This was never a tournament team. Them putting them in the tournament didn't change that for me. I don't care. And then if somebody actually brought it up and was like, what about San Diego State? They beat San Diego State. They weren't a tournament team. So what difference does it make? Like, you should have let Indiana and boys squabble. Like, you should just let them do it. Anyway, and it probably would have went the same way, believe it or not. But yeah, man, let's go over it real quick too, because this one is running a little long. But let's talk his contract details really quick. I believe I have his contract details. Clearly I don't have it up at the second, but where are we at?
I started off for you 5 years, 4.8 mil.
All right, just a couple things. I'm just gonna go over some money with you guys, just some numbers. $30,000 signing bonus, $25,000 bonus if he makes the Mount, or if he wins the Mountain West Championship title. Another $25,000 as a bonus if he makes the NCAA tournament as an at-large. Okay, I was wondering where that 4 came from. I'm sorry. Additional $50,000 if he makes the Final Four. A country club membership. I'm not gonna lie, this is where my ears perked a little bit. But the 2 company cars and the suite at the Thomas Mack. You want to know what's getting tough about these hires for UNLV? I'm gonna try to do it by the next show. I need to go see what TJ Otzelberger's contract was, and I need to see what Kevin Kruger's contract was, because at this point, UNLV hasn't done a lot of winning, and every contract has to one up the next one. Some of these perks for a program that doesn't win, I'm not mad at the perks. He did what he was supposed to do, right? Again, this is what I talk about in terms of UNLV just firing people and restarting the cycle. I said before in terms of when people were saying fire Kevin Kruger, I said, well, where do you guys want to go? I was actually out with Alex Wright of the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and we were doing a show when Brian Hodgson situation kind of started to heat up. By the time we went out, it was steaming, right? And everybody was like, all right, it's looking like UNLV has their guy. And he signs with USF. And everybody kind of looks around and everybody goes, well, UNLV, who was your number 2? I'm watching people nationally ask, who was UNLV's number 2? Little do they know, as a local media member, we didn't have a number 1. So you think we got a number 2? Now, maybe Eric Harper truthfully did. Behind the scenes, it seemed like it was a little scatterbrained. I do have more tournament or more college stuff to get to. I have the men's tournament, then we can end with the women's tournament. Again, we're about 30 minutes into your Thursday episode of the Talk That Talk radio show. I am going to open the second hour with baseball talk. It is a national holiday. Happy New Year to you and yours. I've literally been watching baseball all day.
Watch the Yankees win. How the Angels do. You know what?
What is happening right now?
My bad.
What is happening?
That was unnecessary.
That was very unnecessary.
I'm sorry.
And I almost said something that I couldn't take back. What is up with you, yo? Like,
I didn't know. You know what? I don't take that back.
I know you don't.
Because I had to take all this Dodger slander all off season. I'm not mad about that.
You didn't say anything about the Dodgers. You took a shot at my Angels. What that got to do with anything?
Because you was flaming. Because because this is what you LA people do. See, you gonna ride with the Dodgers, just to see me in misery with my Yankees all off season. But meanwhile, here come the Angels again and
Hey, all I'm gonna say is, like I told y'all before, if you're asking me to pick a team, you're not necessarily asking me to pick a team. You're asking me to pick a coast. That's very easy for me. That is very easy for me to pick coast. But whatever, I could be wrong. Let's talk about this men's tournament. 4 of the 8 teams for the Elite 8 are set after tonight. Why am I blanking? Don't you dare tell me. Florida, Duke, Texas Tech. Well, blanking the 4 game that I would. I'm blanking. Why are the Angels on my phone? As I look down to see which other team I'm forgetting, Bama, damn, the 25 record threes. But we get to that. Obviously, we have 25 minutes to discuss the men's tournament and the women's tournament. We got about 20 minutes. I'm sorry. We got about 20 minutes to discuss this. You can go ahead and start with it. Obviously, I know you're a college basketball head.
Cooper Flag.
I knew you were doing.
Let's just get straight into.
Somebody said he was thinking about staying in college. No, Melo wanted to stay all 4 years.
Jim Boeheim said, "Get out of here."
They said, "Hey, do me a favor. Get up out of here."
I mean, at this point, man, like you got to give it up to the dude. I mean, like it's ACC Freshman of the Year, ACC Player of the Year, might win National Player of the Year. Got his team in the Elite Eight now. I mean, but you know, shout out to Caleb Love though. But going out ending his college career with 35 points. I mean, that's
Hey, growing up a Duke fan, like I said, you just pay attention, even if you move away from the school or whatever the case may be. Somebody asked me about my Packer fandom. I think my dad might have did it maybe a month ago. And he said something about the Packers. I was like, "Hey, fam, I am knee deep in Raider news. Like, I don't know what's happening up there. I'm gonna be honest with you." And he started laughing, and I was like, "That's what happens when you kind of start working with these teams." I don't, you know. But every time I looked up, Caleb Love was torching Duke over the last 3 seasons, and I've been like, you know what? When the hell he graduate? Get him the hell out of here. He absolutely loves cooking Duke.
he had a lot of fun last time, man. But
For sure.
yeah, so you know, outside of that, who won that Texas Tech Arkansas game?
Okay, so let's go there. Wait, before you do that, super flat real quick.
Right.
Kevin Durant said it at USA basketball practice. He was saying that it's not often that young guys get to have that opportunity to be invited and be on a select team for Team USA, let alone with a group like that, right? And majority of the takeaways from the players that were there, and obviously we're not just talking about NBA players, we're talking about all-stars, we're talking about champions, we're talking about MVPs, and 60% of them said he's ready now. That was before this season. So that's why he's not staying in college. But everybody said he was ready now. What happens if a team like the Bulls have a last bad 2 weeks of the season and they luck up and get the top pick? I'm adding Cooper Flag to that. I'll take my chances. Now, you asked me about Texas Tech and Arkansas. Before I do anything, can I just give a round of applause to Coach Cal? Not gonna lie, I seen his first SEC game and was like, SEC game at Arkansas, and was like, it's gonna be one of them. I was like, it's gonna be one of those seasons for you. Then I saw, if I recall correctly, you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think they had a big loss to Georgia. And I sat there and I said, yeah, it's one of those seasons. I watched him and his Arkansas Razorbacks take down St. John's last week, and I said, I still ain't learned to stop betting against Coach Cal. Unfortunately, luck ran out today. As I'm getting this studio together for this show, Texas Tech goes on a 10-3 run, including a huge 3. They get past Arkansas 85-83 in overtime. Coach Cal and that run is over.
I actually picked Texas Tech to go to the Elite Eight.
Okay. I didn't.
But yeah, Coach Cal though. I mean, he's interesting, man, because like he does this so often. He gets all these young players, see the start team, you're like, ugh. And he'll be the first one to come out and be like, we're young, we're terrible, we can't shoot the ball, we can't pass the ball. I mean, he will come out straight up drag his entire team
100%.
for the first month and a half to 2 months of the season. And the tournament creeps around, you're like, starting to look good, man. That Jamal Murray starting to look. And that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander dude starting to. Hey man, Anthony Davis and them.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing it this year with DJ Wagner. So
Nobody talks about the Harrison Twins enough.
You're right. You're right. That's another topic for another day. We could go on a whole tangent with that, but I mean, shout out to Coach Kyle. No, definitely, because as somebody who was a Kentucky hater for the longest, like I hated, like growing up, I hated Kentucky. I mean that with my soul.
I'm sure.
Like
there's a look that you had. That's first of all, that's the most open your eyes have been all night. So that's how I know you clearly don't like him.
Like, yeah, man. So, but like, Kyle was just one of those dudes you had to respect, though. Like the formula worked, and he stuck to it, and he's still been sticking to it. So, yeah, Texas. I don't like picking Texas Tech, but I mean, I watched that team all year. Like, it's just one of those teams you look at them, you're like, that's a complete team right there. Now, do I know how far they're gonna go? No, but I definitely had them going far in the tournament just because I seen how they performed in the Big 12. Like, granted, the Big 12 isn't what it is past, since the whole conference realignment. That conference is still that in basketball. Like, don't get it twisted. So, yeah, I mean, shout out to Texas Tech. They did their thing.
I'm never gonna be mad at good basketball, right? And obviously, I have to get out of here and go double check and triple check what that ending looked like. But again, man, it's hard to deny we've seen this year, and obviously now I'm translating conversation over to Florida, right? A top seed. I'm gonna be honest, especially in the men's tournament. You look at some of these top seeds sometime, and you're like, I don't know if you're gonna get past the Elite Eight. Like, I don't know if you're gonna get past the Sweet 16. You can look at that sometimes. And I was looking at this one, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm hesitant. I was always hesitant to bet on Houston because I've done it the past couple of years, and I was just like, y'all gonna have to prove it to me. Like, y'all gonna have to just show me at this point. Now, Duke and Florida was always interesting to me. And it was like, I don't know if both are going to make it. I watched one of or both teams play one tournament game this particular year around. I said, oh, they're both going. So Florida being in the Elite Eight doesn't shock me. Probably being the Final Four.
Florida was another one of those complete teams. Got a star player with their lead guard. But like, I like that comparison with Duke because they were one of those teams you're like, okay, you guys are supposed to win, but are you gonna actually do it? Okay, you guys look complete top to bottom all year long, have some slips here and there, but are you gonna actually do it when the tournament comes around? And right now they're actually doing it. So I mean, like in terms of size, play, I mean spacing, coaching, the whole nine. I mean, like Florida is one of those teams that has it, but it's just everybody knows when the tournament comes around, things get worse. So,
first of all, I feel like it's just I mentioned it earlier, and I want to give them their proper due. Tournament record 25-83 Alabama. I'm gonna be honest. Bama, remember when they hired Avery Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we mean in terms of a culture hire, right? Like somebody who's going to come in, inject the program with life. As you mentioned before, Josh Pastner may be able to do. And now we've seen what Alabama has become in hindsight, or not hindsight, in the aftermath of Avery being there, right? So I just think that's worth noting. But they took down BYU tonight. A lot of people had BYU moving on. So I'm pretty sure, as I mentioned before, the people that were betting on High Point, the people that were betting on McNeese State, things like that, the Clemson, who else did Michigan State play? Or who did Michigan play? Give me right off here.
I'm not the biggest.
Damn, I
Michigan
forgot.
guy, so.
I forgot who Michigan played, but Michigan was playing a heavy favorite underdog too. I mean, a heavily favored lower seed too. And again, they had a good week to hear that everybody was picking a lower seed, and they went out there and took care of business. I'm pretty sure Bama heard everybody talking about BYU over the last couple of weeks, and was like, "Cool, time to put belt to ass."
It was Bryant. Oh, no. It was San Diego. San Diego.
It was UC San Diego because I bet against them too.
Yep.
That's what it was. The High Point was the only one that kind of sticks in my craw now. Like that's the only one that kind of bothers me a little bit now. But again, you mentioned that the tournament usually produces some weird times. I don't think anything was more heartbreaking. I don't necessarily want to call it weird, I guess, but nothing was more heartbreaking than watching Juju go down. I do want to highlight really quick before we get into specifics. Sports is a crazy thing because sometimes you can, especially because it's our job to foreshadow and to chronicle events and things of that nature. You pay attention to things that may be minute, whatever the case may be. I remember earlier this year, Amarachi Kempson fell and hurt her tailbone. And I watched her the next game and I was like, she don't really look right. And I asked Lindy about it, and then she sat out the game after that. And I was like, so I was right. She wasn't right, right? Anyway, I say that to say that game before Juju got hurt in terms of tearing her ACL, she tweaked her ankle. And I remember when I talked up the story a couple of times. I just got a funny text message that I got to follow up on in a second. I remember when I tore my Achilles, and Boogie tore his the day after mine. And somebody dumbass gonna ask me, I was in at the rec center. Somebody was like, "Did you watch Boogie tear his?" No, I stayed away from it. Actually, why would I watch that video? Anywho, reason why I bring that up is because when I originally tore my Achilles, I remember going through my rehab and I was struggling like hell to get back. I remember Boogie got back before me. It's not a problem, right? Boogie is around world class trainers with the Golden State Warriors, so it makes sense. Boogie started playing before I was out of my walking boot. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I went to my doctor and was like, "Hey, fam, I got a bone to pick with you. Because why the hell is he hooping and I'm not out the boot?" And he was like, he should not be playing. Like, I don't know what's happening over here. That shouldn't be happening. And then Boogie tears his quad. As soon as Boogie tore his quad, I was like, oh, that's why my doctor said watch my knee. That's why my doctor said watch my hip. That's why my doctor didn't want me to have plantar fasciitis. These are different things that trickle into the next day. I watched Juju tweak that leg when she went back out there after tweaking the leg. I was like, oh, so nobody gives a shit, right? So nobody is being alert enough to realize, hey, not only do we probably not need her to go in the game, even if we did, she probably shouldn't. Tournament time, we're going to need her every other night. This was one of those situations. As soon as she went down, this is the unfortunate part of sports. As soon as she went down, I said it's up.
Did too, man. Before the reports even came out, like I just seen the way she went down. I was like, that was one of those contact but kind of non-contact injuries to where it was like she grabbed her knee immediately. I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, that's not good. Like, and you know, a lot of those, you know, it's crazy. It's the same thing. Like, it kind of reminded me. Somebody spoke earlier when Cooper Flag tweaked his ankle a couple weeks ago
Facts.
in the SEC tournament, and I was just like, John Sire did not put him back in the game, and they did, and they playing the rest of the tournament. I was like, that's smart, like because you know how that trickle down effect can happen, and like you said, when Juju came back that same game, I'm like, well, first off, you guys are one of the best teams in the country.
Oh, I was gonna say you guys are something else.
You guys don't need to. You guys don't need her to get out of the first round of the NCAA. And if you guys do, you guys have way bigger issues. But why are you throwing Juju back out there? And then she comes back the next game, and I'm like, I'm nervous. I'm not wishing something bad to happen. I'm just like, Okay.
Almost when KD suited up for the finals, and we were all kind of watching the game like this. As soon as KD went down, everybody in unison was like, "Yeah, okay, it happened."
When KD's coming out just shooting jumpers and not even trying to attack the back. I don't. He goes down. Damn. Yeah. So I mean, like, I don't know who that person has to be. I don't know if it's. I don't know if you point the finger at the head coach, the athletic department, training staff. I don't know who it is. I understand it's the tournament, but at the same time, she got a future at her. And on top of that, if nothing else, she's coming back next year. So why would you even want to risk that? So like now it's like, okay, she's done for this year. Might not even play next year if we're being truthful about it.
That's the first thing I thought about. I thought about like similar to Kyrie. For anytime a significant injury like that happens, I'm sitting there watching and I'm like, timetable. And that's not the best thing for people to think about in that moment, but that was the first thing I thought about, timetable. I said, so she tore this. I'm not gonna lie, I looked down at my phone, I thought it said 10:05. I was about to say Markel, we hit a glitch. I was gonna be like, we're in the Matrix right now, dog. But as soon as she went down, I was like, so where are we at? We're at the end of March. I said, dog, she don't get to complete this run, and she doesn't really have a say-so in next year. That's the toughest part.
At that point, is there any reason for her to come back to college at that point?
I think we already saw what we saw. Juju doesn't need to enter the college game ever again, but I do think that would be interesting just in terms of her line going straight to the draft after not playing in a year and a half. I don't know if she did not play for that long. I don't know, man. I do know this. It doesn't even matter because things get clipped, things get sent out. It doesn't even matter. Happy recovery, healthy recovery to Juju.
Definitely.
Again, I will tell you guys any chance I get when I tore my Achilles, it happened so fast I didn't even realize it in the moment. So my dummy tightened my shoe and tried to keep playing and realized like you're dragging a leg. But I tore my Achilles around the same time that Charles Williams tore his ACL the same time he fractured his ankle, I believe it was. So we were in rehab at the same time. And I ended up asking him, I was like, hey Chuck, I was like, when you broke your ankle, I was like, did you cry? And he was like, nah. He was like, what about you? I was like, nah. And I looked at him and kind of smiled. I was like, crying rehab? He was like, yeah. I said, don't worry. I did too. That's the hardest part of it. The injury itself is what it is, but that rehab, I told my doctor, I was like, I'm going to be out the boot in 4 months. Or what was it? Oh, in 4 weeks. I went back for my initial, and he was like, yeah, 5 more weeks. Me? 5 more weeks for me? I was like, bro, ain't no way in hell. But yeah, man, we're 48 minutes into your Thursday installment of the Talk That Talk radio show. Hi, Dom. How are you? I had somebody text me, and some people, when they watch the show, they watch either on their iPad, and some people watch on TV. And I usually watch YouTube on my TV too. So anytime somebody does that, and they send me a picture or they reach out while they're watching us on their TV, I'm super appreciative. So Dominique, I appreciate you. You know what it is. It's National Holiday, bro. I'm giving another round of applause because baseball is back. Don't ever mention the Angels again. I didn't say a damn thing funny. So I'm really confused as to why you're laughing. And you're showing teeth. Like you're showing all of them.
No, because I've been waiting on this.
I don't want to. I'm not talking about them. I have nothing written about the Angels.
I've dealt with slander this entire winter.
I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight.
I do.
I don't want no problem. Matter of fact, let me tell this Dom story real quick. Oh, this is great. I'm so happy she's watching. I hope she's still watching. So Dom is a Niner fan, right? Mm-hmm. And you make that face. So Dom is a Niner fan, and I love Dom to pieces, dog. But y'all know how I feel about Niner fans. they could lose to the Jets. I'm gonna send her the post. I just want you to see it. I just want you to see. She still watches. This is great. I just want you to see it, right? I'm just gonna make sure that you see it. I was super busy this past fall, clearly dealing with the rare stuff, right? And I hit her after the Packers played Frisco, and I was like, doing business with you. Damn, this was a game I could have bet on. She hit me back and was like, that's cool, because I wouldn't have bet on this game. And it's always funny when you look at a certain dog. Say whatever you want about the Angels. I'm not gonna fight you. I'm not defending that team. I don't want no part of it. You got it.
That sound like me with the Titans. I'm not.
Nah, that's different. This man is a Titan fan. Do you? All right, so I'll let you slide as a Titan. I don't know what the hell is going on anymore.
But yeah, yes, baseball's back.
Yeah, man.
Yankees won, a nice win over the Brewers.
If you're gonna do it right. You gotta shout out Austin Wells if you're gonna do it. Being the first catcher with a leadoff home run on opening day. We're just gonna stay in the AFC. I blame you guys.
The Packers are in the NFC.
I blame you guys. Because now I'm thinking about the Niners. I'm thinking about the Titans. I'm thinking about things that I should not be thinking about. But anyway, if we're going to stay in the American League, let's stay in the American League East really quick. If we're talking about leadoff home runs, Tyler O'Neill went ahead, had a home run today as well. That is his 6th straight opening day home run, the most in league history. All right, get out the comments now. Now I see a bunch of Niner stuff in the comments. I'm just trying to get through the show. I got an hour left. It's a Thursday night. I'm just trying to make it happen. Yeah, man. A couple of opening day, obviously, statistics that we got to go through. But yeah, man. I knew that this Thursday show would be fun for a couple of different reasons, and I got a good 20 minutes on opening day baseball. If you want to discuss it, I do obviously want to open the conversation, unfortunately, by recapping a little bit of what happened last year. Obviously, the Dodgers entering this season as the reigning World Series champions, following. Let me put the camera here. Following a World Series win over the New York Yankees. And then the Dodgers obviously go out today, and they have already played 2 games. They played 2 games against Chicago in Tokyo. But now they get back to business here in the States, and they get back to business in a big way. Shohei went yard today. You know what? I am going to mention the Angels. Sorry.
See, I knew it. I knew it, man. See, I knew it.
Sorry.
Go ahead, man. Shohei and Mike Trout. Go ahead.
I apologize, y'all. I did say Shohei's name, and I was like, and another thing. So did you see Mike Trout's first at bat? You were working, so you probably did.
No, I missed it.
So Mike Trout steps into the batter's box, and I'm watching MLB tonight. So I'm watching all the games, right? So I'm sitting at the house, sending emails and stuff, and I'm looking up. And my the way my setup was, I had everything on the ottoman. So I have everything on the ottoman. I'm typing. I look up, and I see Mike Trout stepping in the batter's box. I said, "All right, cool. This is great. This is the moment that I needed, right? It's what I wanted to see." I don't know why I get nervous all of a sudden. I'm like, damn, this is one of those. It's just like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm nervous to the point where I'm like, he's gonna hit a homer, because it happened. Can't remember was it last opening day? Maybe 2 opening days ago. I think it was last one. Same situation. I'm sitting there watching, and I'm just like my breathing got slower, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? And he hit a homer, and that's when it was like, okay, you're watching something different. And he's in the batter's box today. I get kind of nervous again. I'm like, oh, I think it's about to happen. Next pitch, he gets hit on the hand. I lose my mind, dog. You think I would have been at the ballpark? I said, we just got him back. And the first pitch was near his head. So that's probably why I got nervous. First pitch was near his head, and I was just like, okay, everybody chill. Everybody just wait until we see how this plays out. Then he got hit on the hand. I said happy national. I can't even get the words out. I was like, happy New Year to Angel fan. Clearly, I was like, bro, what the hell is going on right now? Yeah, but the Angels lost 8-1 if you needed to hear it. The Dodgers won 5-4 if you needed to hear it. I do have athletic news, and I do have aviator news. But before we do that, Kerry, you can get to some other things if you want to. Oh, I do have a Bryson Stott point too.
That was a loss to the White Sox, by the way. John Carlos Stanton's not back for us just yet.
He's still talking Yankees.
Nah, man, I ain't got nothing else, man.
It's unbelievable.
Shout out to the A's, man. On the way to the city real soon. Honestly, baseball's on the docket tonight. I said, "Oh, we get to talk Angels. I'm gonna have a great time tonight."
I'm gonna leave,
especially after the Yankees won too.
I'm gonna leave.
Oh yes, yeah. Of course, we have to talk athletics baseball. They're on the way to the city very soon. But yeah, I just wanted to talk.
I'm gonna let him do it. I'm gonna let him get it off. Because I gave Texas hell in the college football playoff, and SC didn't even go. So
He did.
I'll take that. I'm not worried about it. You know what's funny? On the next podcast, I want to talk about John Cena's Hilton, right? Obviously, writing is going to be interesting in terms of the way that they were into it, right? But for him to come out and take the "I was in an abusive relationship with you guys" angle, I've only been saying that for the last 2 years. That's exactly what I'm in with the Angels. I told you. And then 2 years ago, when I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing it. I'm not an Angel fan. It's exactly what happens when you leave the girl that you kind of like still. And the whole time, I said I was with the Mets. I'm standing next to the Mets, and the whole time I'm looking over my shoulder. What's she doing? What are you doing back there? Only for both of them not to make it. And then the year after, I'm like, you know what? I need to return home. I need to go back to be with my Angels. The Mets go to the play. I don't know what. I don't know.
Literally watch it.
I don't like baseball anymore. Actually,
it's okay. I didn't
watch minor league baseball. I watched the Aviators. That's what I watched.
I didn't like baseball either when the Yankees were losing, and we weren't good either.
And Aaron Judge was dropping fly balls. So the A's started their season today. They started it on the road. I almost gave them a round of applause, but they lost today. They lost their season opener. They dropped a contest at the T-Mobile Park 4-2. By the way, how much money does T-Mobile have? Complete sidebar.
A lot.
Did you see that Wingstop deal that they had?
T-Mobile Arena?
He has no idea. This is going to be so great. So first of all, they have the T-Mobile Arena, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have T-Mobile Park in Seattle.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep.
I believe they have one other one. Is it a minor league team? Is it an IFL team? They have one other one. This just made me think about it. March 25th, was that yesterday? 2 days ago. They said Wingstop was doing some crazy promotion or whatever. For T-Mobile customers, it was the penny for it was like a penny for 2 tenders, 3 tenders, something like that, right? Lines were out the door. Wingstop still has to make their money, so T-Mobile paid them. I'm sure. How much money T-Mobile really got? That's what got me to thinking. Because it wasn't. You know how many Wingstops was participating?
Wingstop cut it off. My girl was trying to get in on it. She was trying to save it, but no, it was in Wingstop. I had to. Yeah,
you should have shook the doors.
Because T-Mobile, I think it's like T-Mobile Tuesday or something like that. Like they had this thing for like certain members every Tuesday, and then this one they had to cut short because I think it was supposed to go on for a few more days, but
they said nah. They said y'all tripping. We didn't know you had to be customers. Quick question: you got T-Mobile?
I'm actually about to switch over to. That's pretty crazy. Yeah. I used to be with them though.
I kind of want to know who you have. Who do you have?
Terrible. AT&T.
Before they got rid of it, I was a Sprint fan, and so I'm not mad at that. To be honest, I have it right now, so I was just. I wanted you to have T-Mobile so I could say I want better for y'all. But now I don't know if she's actually better off in the situation with T-Mobile because you got AT&T. So I don't know what's happening anymore. And then I thought about it when you said AT&T. I was like, damn, do you have to work for it? Like, you want to make fun of them? You sitting there with Verizon. This might not be good for you either. Yeah, man. Let's talk this loss to Seattle. You want the good news or the bad news?
Bad news first.
I was gonna go good news. Jose Leclerc, first game as a Athletic, made his debut after I believe 5 seasons with the Texas Rangers, and only recorded 1 out. I believe gave up 3 runs. As I mentioned before, it was a 4-2 loss, so those 3 runs were huge. I do want to give you guys starter numbers really quick before I get into some of the positive from this game. Yeah, so Leclerc gave up 2 hits or gave up 3 runs on 2 hits. He did walk a batter and he did strike out a batter. He gave up 2 home runs. So that gives you a little bit of an idea for how shaky his first outing was. Of course, it's opening night, so all ERA. This is my favorite thing to do. After opening night, look at everybody's ERA, see who has infinite ERA. His ERA currently is 81. So he's going to be looking to work that back down. Luis Severino made his first start as an Oakland Athletic. He went 6 strong, gave up 3 hits of scoreless ball in 6 innings of scoreless ball, struck out 6, walked 4, did touch the 100 pitch mark. He was pulled from the mound at 99. If you wanted some good news, again, you guys know I cover the Aviators. We'll get to them in a brief moment. I was looking at today's opening day lineup, right? And I'm looking at Lawrence Butler, Brent Rooker, JJ Bleday, Shea Langoliers, Miguel Andujar, Tyler Soderstrom, Gio Urshela, Max Muncy, not the one you guys are thinking about, not the Dodger, and Jacob Wilson. With the exception of Brent Rooker, Andujar, who was down here with because of injury, and Gio Urshela, yeah, everybody else spent significant time with the Aviators organization. And we'll get to them in a second in terms of what the roster looks like this year, in terms of the manager coming back. The manager obviously being Fran Reardon. So because of that, I'm going to have some personal ties to these guys a little bit in terms of telling these stories. Tyler Soderstrom went yard twice tonight. He went 2 for 3, had 2 home runs, 2 RBIs. He did score those 2 runs, obviously, with his solo shots. He did have 1 strikeout. Tyler Soderstrom was one of the top prospects in this organization, but he was a top prospect as a catcher. Now, keep in mind, I just mentioned Shea Langoliers a moment ago. I've even talked to Tyler directly. And I was talking to him about where the Athletics are as an organization, right? And I was telling him essentially yes, this team is winning, right? That's maybe 3 years ago, damn near. Damn. And I was minor league baseball, dog. Which one am I saying? Like, that's the way it works. I talked to these guys for 2. They're in the major leagues for the next 17. That's just the way it goes. But I had the conversation with Tyler, and I was like, well, even though the team isn't winning right now, you're in a situation where they know how to develop catchers, and they do it at a high rate. Do you feel like you landed in the right situation for that? He said, yeah. I said, can't wait to play this interview back for him. I said, in terms of that, this team kind of has some guys at that position kind of lined up. Murph ended up getting traded to the Atlanta Braves, and Shea Langoliers is obviously up next, right? I mentioned Shea Langoliers today. Shea started behind the plate today, and for the Athletics. And I asked Tyler directly. I said, "So, would you play a different position other than catcher if it meant being called up to the big leagues quicker?" And you're somebody who obviously does this job, and you can tell when you ask one of those questions, right? I asked that question, and he was like, you could see an initial answer came to his mind, and he stopped, and he was like, actually, that's a good question. He was like, as of now, my answer is no. You guys drafted me as a catcher. I would assume you want me to play catcher. I believe I'm an everyday big league catcher. We'll see what happens. He ends up getting called up last year, plays majority DH. This year, you're on the opening day roster. Tyler Soderstrom started at first base tonight. You know who I can't wait to see? Tyler Soderstrom. I'm just excited to see. I'm interested to see rather. Obviously, his perspective may have changed a little bit, right? But I've talked to that man. That man still believes that he's a catcher. Oh, I'm just interested to see where that goes.
That's got to be tricky as a player, just knowing that you're getting developed from one position and you keep getting moved around. It's got to mess your mental a little bit. Like, obviously, like the A's are like in a weird position right now, like because the Aviators are such a good minor league team and developing players good enough to be in the majors, but it's not necessarily translating to wins on a major league level. So it's kind of like they're kind of stuck in this weird place right now. Like, obviously, they're not really going to get any big stars right now because they're in that transition period right now and moving from Oakland out here. So it's really, they're in a tough situation. Do I feel like in the long run, is it going to play out well for them? Yeah, I think because they're developing all this young talent right now. So when they finally do move out here, I think players are going to live in Vegas. Players are going to play in Vegas. The A's don't have a good history in terms of like from a historical perspective in terms of what their franchise is. So
compared to some other franchises,
that was you that time.
I didn't say a word. I didn't say anything.
You didn't have to.
I didn't say anything.
That's why we can't talk baseball on this show.
I didn't say anything.
It's reckless.
I keep saying it. By the way, those 3 runs that Jose gave up, they were in the 8th inning. I just want to add that.
That's tough, man. So, but I think where is going this year?
Damn. I was gonna have a cop out answer and say that there's so much parity in this league, like it always is. If they were top 2 in a division, it wouldn't shock me. Just because this sport is weird as hell. If I had to put I think they compete for the 3rd spot in the division. I think they're over 500.
Let me ask you this:
by no more than 5 games.
Would you be more surprised if they finish first?
I thought you were about to say the Angels.
Or would you be not surprised if they ended up finishing last? Like,
which one is more likely?
Yeah, like
more surprised that they would finish first. Because I thought you were going to ask, would you be more surprised if they finish first or more surprised if they finish last? Because then the answer is opposite. I would be more surprised if they finished last. The problem is they overachieved last year. That's the problem. In some sports, honestly, in no sport can you regress. I wanted to go back and double check. If you overachieve, them expectations don't regress the following year. So the fact that the Athletics overachieved last season, and I said it before because if you talk about bottom of the barrel teams, like bottom of the league teams 2-3 seasons ago, the Athletics were absolutely there. I said it 2 years ago, maybe last year, they need something to hold on to in terms of this move. You can't make this big of a move without having somebody to sell. You have to sell somebody as a franchise leader, as a franchise player, somebody that we're going to show up and see 81 times throughout the season, right? And then last year happens. The expectation is different. Now the expectation is different. So Lawrence Butler is somebody that you can market behind. At least I believe so. JJ Bleday is somebody who the Miami Marlins, their fans, talk to their fan base about that rate. He can hit. You go and give Brent Rooker the contract. Shea Langolier is in your stable. You know what you have in terms of or you believe you know what you have in terms of Tyler Soderstrom. You're trying to just fill in some pieces around it at this point. if this team were to be last, something went terribly wrong. With the way that parity is weird in this league, let's say Houston. See, I don't want to be this guy, but let's say Houston loses a big arm. Maybe they're not competing for a top 2 spot anymore. What if the Rangers start off slow again this year, and the Rangers are like, you know what? Fire sale. We got our championship. Let's just kind of rebuild this on the fly. I feel like that's more likely to happen than. And let's just say that percentage is a 25% chance. I think the Athletics losing the most in this division. Unfortunately, a division that includes the Angels. I just don't think it happens. I think that's more likely. The Athletics being on top of the division is more likely to happen than the Athletics being on the bottom of it.
It's interesting, man. I think it's gonna be go from last to first, and then back to last.
Like, what do you know about it? Y'all buy championships.
Wow,
I'm not mad.
I mean, we did just lose our ace. I mean, that was very.
You see what I did there? You see what I did there? I made you bring it up, so I didn't.
Well, it was already on mine because you said, what if Houston loses a big arm?
That's what I'm saying. You see what I did there?
Yeah, Garrett Cole get well soon, but this is kind of
definitely
well soon. This is kind of like I don't know what's wrong with my teams, man, because this is like Texas when we lost C.J. Baxter before the season started last year. This is I just you know what? Let's move on.
Let's do it.
I don't want to talk.
The A's are 0-1 so far this year on this young season. We got to play 162 of these, and in some cases 163. I'm excited, man. The A's are still in Seattle. The A's will stay in Seattle to wrap up this series on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, March 31st, they will make their Sacramento debut at Sutter Health Park. Not gonna lie to you, I think I'm gonna have to take a trip to Sacramento. I wasn't able to get out there and cover the A's when they were in Oakland, but I'm gonna make a Northern California trip in general. I gotta go to the Coliseum before they get rid of it. I gotta go. So that's a run that I'm gonna make, and obviously as part of that run, I'm gonna go find myself in Sacramento and see what the Athletics look like. I would love to say another name other than the A's or Athletics guys I know, but that's what this team is going by. There is no city name for the next 3 seasons for the Athletics. I just feel like maybe you should have went the minor league level and went with like Athletics Baseball Club or something. Like do something. We're going to be saying A's and Athletics a whole lot over the next 3 seasons. We'll be in no city name. But my favorite day of the year is tomorrow, personally, because I will be at the Las Vegas ballpark for opening night for your Las Vegas Aviators. The new year opens with 3 games against the hated Reno Aces, a Reno Aces team that, you know what's funny? I feel like whenever the Aviators don't perform well in the PCL, I feel like the Reno Aces do, and vice versa, right? So I pay attention to these series a little bit closer for whatever reason. I've watched Reno struggle in certain seasons, come to Vegas and get their season right on track by taking 4 of 6 away from the Aviators, or vice versa. I've seen the Aviators be looking like they're headed down, and they come swinging and they take 5 of 6 away from Reno Aces. So to start the year with a team that you're probably going to have to see at the end of the year, which I know specifically because I looked at the schedule, that you're going to have to see at the end of the year, is going to be a big moment for Fran Reardon and his guys to kind of get off to a big start tomorrow from the Las Vegas ballpark. I do want to discuss roster and, of course, Fran Reardon, and I just mentioned. But what do you have to say about the Aviators? If anything, rather.
I'm interested to see what they do this year because, like, I feel like so many times last year. It was like they would get hot, and then they would come back down to earth, and then they would get hot again, and they come back down to earth, and they were just kind of stuck in this place to where they were good, but not really. But they were good though, but not really. So this year, like I do want to see them even try and take the PCL this year because I think position because like we just finished talking about their major league team, like the guys are getting pushed up. Like the minor league team is in position to win the PCL.
I ain't want to say it. I didn't want to say it, but
I'll be the one to say it. Even a couple games I caught last year, I was just like, okay, you guys can score 10 runs, but come on, you can't give up 9. Like,
or 12.
like, what are you doing? So, but like just knowing like that they have that type of firepower when it comes to the bats, I think that's something that's going to go a long way. But in terms of pitching, I feel like that's going to be like the biggest question for him heading into this season.
No, first of all, I'm absolutely ecstatic that you brought that point up. This is gonna sound crazy. The biggest reason why I feel like the Athletics have a chance, why do I keep doing that? The biggest reason why I feel like the Aviators have a chance to make some noise and potentially win a PCL championship this year is because of Fran Riordan. Plain and simple. That's the reason. 2-time PCL Coach of the Year, once in 2019 and once in 2023. Again, remember, I had the conversation with Yoel Pozo, who told me, hey, we know what our jobs are. All of our jobs are connected in the sense of this team aspect, right? But we all are in different stages of our career. So we understand that this is minor league baseball. We're all in different stages. He said, but what makes it easy? Having a manager like Fran, because he wants to win. So the more that we win as a unit, we'll get what we need and we will get what we want individually. Fran Riordan, as you just mentioned, over the past couple of seasons, has done a great job along with his staff in developing guys like Shea Langoliers, Tyler Soderstrom. Who did I just mention? Lawrence Butler. You got Jacob Wilson was down here with us last year. Max Muncy was down here with us last year, and they're on the opening day roster. So the development is there from Fran Riordan guys, right? I'm going to be honest. I feel like now Fran Riordan is kind of coming into this year like, oh, I got a new crop. Probably going to be with me at least half of the season. We can win some games. And I think, to be honest with you, this team started 2-9 last season. At the very least, my hot take is that if that was flipped this time around, you got something? Say something, and this has nothing to do with the Aviators, but I just opened my phone. Did you see LeBron's Ohio State inspired 22s tonight?
No.
So they're chrome. Where are we at? They're chrome with some red, right? Fire. Amazing. It's set on the inside part of his foot. It says James. What he typically does. The M is whacked out.
I respect it.
Fire. As a person who was just listening to Whacked Out Murals on the way over here, on the way over here. So for you to come in on Brian's shoe and see that the M is whacked out, it's amazing, brother. I seen that and was like, okay. Shout out to Brian. But yeah, man, let's get back to the Aviators really quick. That was actually what I was opening up my phone for because the roster dropped. There it is. The roster dropped earlier tonight. And just some names that kind of pop off the list for me. Logan Davison. Logan Davison is somebody who can play a couple of different positions. Obviously, he's I have to go back and check now. I want to say he plays shortstop and left field the most, probably. But he's somebody that I'm super excited to see play this season. Jack Cushion, obviously one of the arms. JT Ginn. Yeah, man, I'm still kind of going through Kobe Thomas, Esteury Ruiz. Nick Kurtz is going to be interesting to watch this season as well. So, a couple of different storylines, a couple of different guys that I'm watching for a couple of different reasons in terms of this Oakland. Excuse me, how do I keep saying that? I'm going to have an Oakland tip jar here. Every time we say Oakland over the next 3 years, we're just going to throw something in there, and it's going to go toward a company something. But yeah, man, Fran Riordan is back with this group. A year after, actually months after Don Logan told me that he was expecting to come into the season without Fran. He's admitted on several occasions that he believes that's a big league manager. It's just a matter of time. So unsure of what's going to happen with Fran Riordan moving forward, but I do know at least a foreseeable future, i.e. 2025. He's here in Vegas with me. So I will see my guy tomorrow. Real quick, you know where from?
Don't say LA.
What is your deal, yo? What is your deal?
I missed you, brother, man. I've been gone 2 weeks, man. You know, I have to come back in hot, man.
What the hell is happening? Because now I'm mad at where he's actually from. It shouldn't be that way. Fran is from Buffalo.
Interesting, yeah.
So Fran spends his summers here in Vegas, spends his winters in. He is a sick man. He's a sick man. Anywho, that's just a little sidebar that I just thought about randomly. But Fran is from Buffalo. And the quicker that you realize that Fran is from Buffalo, it allows you to interact with Fran differently. Fran is the man. Shout out to my guy, Fran Riordan.
He got that dog in him.
You know what's funny?
Vegas
Somebody,
Summers, Buffalo Winners.
hey, dog. This is man.
Talk about a shift.
This man crazy. Hey, somebody said something about Fran. Was it last year? I think it was last year. Somebody said something, and for whatever it's worth, minor league baseball they don't really get ripped in most cases, right? But they were ripping the organization, and they said something about the Aviators during one of their down years. It was kind of a shot at Fran, and I thought about whatever the person said. It was a tweet, I think. I came on the show and I thought about the tweet like in the middle of the show, and I said, "Oh, just to let you guys know, really, Fran is like 6'2" and used to play. Fran is the nicest dude in the world. Fran bigger than you think." Is all I'm gonna say. Fran bigger than you think, dog. Like you walk by him and be like bump into him and be like, "This man is solid." Like what the hell? Why are you solid and you're a manager? Nah, man. But again, like I said before, the thing that's so interesting when I walk into that clubhouse, the guys are. It's a clubhouse, a typical clubhouse. Music is playing, guys are eating, whatever the case may be. I've never had a guy say a bad word about Fran. And we've been around some teams where they'll tell you, like, hey, I can't wait for him to leave. Like, we didn't been around those teams before. I've never heard anybody speak a bad word about Fran, including the guys who cut Fran's check. So that mattered. Speaking of cutting checks, the Aviators are just continuing to take team cards as of late. 5-1 victory. I told you guys on Monday they had a game coming up on Tuesday in Minnesota. They took care of business up north, 5-1 over the Minnesota Wild. Jack Eichel said, "I'm sick and tired of assisting on you guys' goals. I'm going to go out there and get 3 of them on." He goes out there, he gets the hat trick. I think was most significant about this win for Vegas. It led 2-1 in that third period, and it scores 3 straight goals to get a big-time win. Obviously, that's a 4th straight win for this franchise. Let's do another round of applause. Why not? A 4th straight win for this franchise. They are now 43-28 on the year. Good for 94 points. They are still first in the Pacific Division. I have to go back now, and now I want to do some research on how many days consecutively they have led the Pacific Division because everybody's been looking up at them for quite some time. LA currently is 5 points behind at 89. You got the Edmonton Oilers at 87 points, and then you have the Vancouver Canucks a little bit behind at 80 points. But that would be your top 4 for the Pacific Division. You like the nice chances this year?
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that Jack Gago went out and got a hat trick, and like you said, he's been more on the passive side this season. Like, at least from my perspective, that's what it seems like. Like, it seems like he's been a little more passive this year. So for him to come and just score this many goals, like, you're like, oh yeah, he can do that too. So I think, yeah, I feel like they're kind of in the right position at 8-4 in the month of March. I mean, they're kind of revving up at the right time. Got
That's exactly what it is.
11 games left in the season. I think they're heading in the right direction, and having a coach that's as good as ours. I mean, I feel like
Best coach in the city for sure. I want to be best coach in all of hockey, but whatever.
I think we fired out. Yeah, I think we getting right at the right time. I feel like Aiden is really starting to line up at the right time. He's really starting, lock in at the right time.
That's why you give him that extension. That's why you make sure you pay them.
I'm talking to the fans right now. Stop disrespecting our goalie. Okay? Because we're gonna stop getting these all-stars real soon if we keep violating the way we do. Okay, but organization too, but I ain't gonna take it there. But
Vegas is one of those places that I think you kind of just hit the nail on the head. One thing I will just kind of change about what you just said in terms of the front office, management to get you out of here.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've said about Vegas, respectfully, it's hard to argue with their moves, but I feel like Vegas hits the panic button a little too often. And I feel like if I talk to that front office, they would tell us, "Oh, it's the panic button." Like we just hit the eject button. But I feel like sometimes you don't need to do it, right? Like, for instance, what if Boston would have blew up the team? And a lot of people were talking about it. I think I might have even been one who was a part of that conversation in terms of what does a Boston blow up look like when Miami to their second finals, right? Obviously, Jason Tatum twisted his ankle. So Boston kind of looking at it like, I think we can still do it. I like what we got. And they went out and did it. So I think sometimes overreacting when you don't get it done is how some teams shoot themselves in the foot, right? We done seen OKC do it, right? We've seen Houston do it. We've seen Brooklyn do it. Okay, you didn't win it this year. You still could have that core together for the next 2-3 seasons. You don't have to blow it up right now.
I think that was a good comparison because, especially at that time, Brad Stevens and everything, everybody was like,
that was the difference. That was the change.
Yeah, everybody's like, this team is kind of stagnant. They're good, but they're not. They're not going to beat LeBron. And then the East, and whole new ball game now.
Exactly.
Jason Tatum gets a little older. Jaylen Brown gets a little older. And I feel like that's kind of like what the Golden Knights have been like. Players are starting to get older, or we're starting to get more veterans, and defense gets better. Like, and then blood moves out, some young blood moves in. Now we got Aiden Hill, and he's in the way. Or we bring an older guy in like a Jack Eichel, and we're like, okay, that's okay. That's you know what I'm saying. We lose somebody like Marshall, and we're like, I don't really know, but okay, panic, just kind of stay the course. And I feel like a lot of people expected Vegas to kind of dip off this season, but like they're still hanging around the top. Granted, they poured all this money into their defense, but it was still there were still questions of, all right, this expansion team kind of came, caught everybody by surprise. They're kind of they look like a good franchise, but let's see what are they going to do when they actually lose some key pieces.
Retool.
And they kind of stayed the course. So like
to think that we're 8 seasons in is insane.
That is beyond insane.
You were supposed to have a down year at some. The team didn't make the playoffs one year, and I know Vegas was panicking, but I obviously being around so many different sports, I looked at it and was like, still not a bad year. Still not a bad year. I don't know. This team hasn't had a bad year in 8 years of existence. I don't know if I've ever seen it.
That's crazy from an expansion team. Like,
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
It's never been done. So like, with that Boston comparison, like it was just seeing like, cause like I feel like Vegas is kind of at that point to where Boston was at the time where it was like, all right, you got these two young stars, but it seems kind of redundant. Is it really gonna work? And then still competing for the finals, and they went to the finals. But they still can't get it. You won the championship.
Now they did it.
Huh. And I feel like Vegas kind of in that same position. Like, all right, you guys couldn't do it against the Cap. They won the championship, 23. What? And now everybody's like, and I feel like somehow we kind of got back to that place to where people were like, can they do it? They won one.
Yeah.
Only been around 8 years.
Yeah.
And so, but
That's a great point.
I feel like they're definitely in position to like make it happen again this year. But
hey, wait a minute. Let's do it. Vegas will look to extend that win streak to 5 games Friday with another road trip, or as they continue that road trip, they're headed to Chicago to take on the Blackhawks. That is a 5:30 p.m. puck drop on March 28th. Did you see that Chat GPT thing about? Did you see the Chat GPT thing about next NBA champions over the next 50 years and next Super Bowl champions over the next 50 years?
I did not see it.
Oh my lord! So, Chat GPT believes that there will be 2 expansion teams that in championships before the Clippers. It was who was it? Don't laugh. It was the San Diego Wave, I think, or San Diego something, and it was the Mexico City something, and I was like, oh, okay. So another country is going to win another championship before the Clippers win, right? Toronto already did it. So this is the reason why I'm going to be honest with you. I looked at the football one. What's so funny?
I feel like your dad's going to like log off the episode right now.
The funny thing is, I don't even know if I even paid attention to any stars on that day. I was looking for one thing and one thing, maybe. It's like mad football expansion teams coming over the next 50 years. And I was just like, I don't know if that's gonna happen. But might be relocated teams. I don't know about expansion teams. But I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going through all of these different chins. They don't have the Packers winning like 2074. I was like, so clearly that GPT is wrong. That's the first thing I said. But this is the reason why I wanted to bring this to the show. The Raiders weren't on the list. And my stomach sunk. We're not going another 50 without the Raiders winning one, right? Way in hell.
I heard somebody talking earlier this week that I forgot which show I was listening to. I want to say Bomani.
Wasn't this one?
I want to say Bomani Jones. And
hilarious.
I think he was pretty much talking about like just the history of the NFL. And like at a certain point in time, you couldn't mention the history of the NFL without mentioning teams like the Raiders.
Yeah.
Or the Dolphins.
Yeah. What about the Titans? You probably could have avoided them. Never mind. We can do it. Never mind.
I'm not gonna crash this episode.
All right.
I just got back.
I won't say nothing else.
And it's kind of crazy that you can mention the history of the NFL and kind of skip over the Raiders. That thing. You can kind of do it.
Nah, hell no. Nah. Only because of John Madden. Ain't no way. You can't tell the story of football without John Madden. Ain't no way in here.
I'm with you.
And by default, that means you got to mention the Raiders.
I'm with you.
Bomani said that?
Yeah. And I think
Bomani Jones said that?
It was him and Howard Bryan.
I can't wait till Summer League.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot wait. I want to see Bomani about that. I'm gonna be like, dog. So you could tell the story of football without John Madden. We can't even tell the story of video games without John Madden.
But see, like the only reason I let him get away with that is because I think people look at John Madden more so as an entity by himself than they do more so associate him with the Raiders.
It's synonymous. It's impossible to me. Can't mention one without the other.
I get it. I understand. And I feel like the game and him as a commentator kind of took him to a different light.
It did.
And I think that's why people can kind of like separate, like kind of somewhat detachment from the Raiders. I don't think
But
it's
the man is. I mean, but you got to understand the man.
I don't think it's responsible to do it, but
Yeah, I mean, well,
I
bigger
understand
than
why.
that. Rest in peace to George Foreman. And excelled in several different avenues, while most people in life only get one. Like I told my dad, growing up, if it wasn't for me loving the fight game, that George Foreman that I knew was selling grills. The George Foreman that I began to know as I got older, as I mentioned before, I learned George from a grandparent standpoint. I knew of George in my adult years from the standpoint of the man wouldn't kill spiders in his house. You telling me mean ass George Foreman is catching spiders and letting them out the front door? The reason why I bring that up is because he's allowed people to see him in different lights to the point to where when I go back and, for instance, I told you guys I knew of George through my godkids. So I was talking to their mom recently, relatively recently, and she was like, "Why do you want to?" This is when I was trying to get an interview, and she was like, "Why do you want to interview George?" Excuse me? I said, "Yo, I know that you know Grandpa George. Let me show you the one I know." And I sent her a bunch of clips. And she was like, "Damn, this is George?" That's my point. John Madden went from the fiery, feisty coach to the insightful and thoughtful commentator to the playful and joyous video game host. I don't know if you could tell the story of sports without John Madden, let alone football.
I understand. I just thought it was an interesting conversation because like those are like just the Raiders are like one of those pillars of the NFL. You know, like you look at them, the Steelers, like I said, the Dolphins. Like,
why ain't you said the Packers yet? What the fuck? Hey,
bro,
what's up with you?
No, I'm gonna keep it real, bro. I'm gonna be so honest with you. If you weren't a Packers fan, I wouldn't think about them. I feel like this is the thing with Packers fans.
I have no reason to think of it.
I feel like this is the thing with Packers fans. Like,
that's hilarious.
Packers fans, y'all make us know that y'all there. Like,
because why y'all keep forgetting this?
Because it's the Packers. Like,
you're a Titan fan,
and that's the
just showing off the rails.
And that's the point. Like y'all one of the greatest franchises in NFL history.
Say it again.
And people still forget about Giants before they mention y'all. That's crazy. I think
Stop doing
it. Y'all in Green Bay, Wisconsin, bro. I'm sorry. This is coming from a Titans fan. We ain't never won the championship, bro.
I do think it's amazing, really quick though. About you should say that louder. I do think it's crazy though that I've never been to Green Bay, right? And I can't wait to go. I told you I had a pen pal out in Green Bay when I was younger. Shout out to Miss Sandy. Ironically enough, I was teenager when I found out that Lambeau Field is just like a neighborhood. I was like, oh, they got that shit set up like Sam Boyd. Like you could just walk to the okay, heard. You could just walk to the front tundra. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like when I learned that I was like, wait, so they're not even like an actual, like they're just like
it's just there. It's like a high school.
It's one of the greatest NFL stadiums in history.
This is damn right.
They just
oh my god, bro.
Burbs like this.
Get out of here.
This is just. I'm like, wow. So
I'm not even sure it's the Burbs. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not too sure.
That's what I'm saying though. But like, man, you're like,
my god,
like y'all historic franchise for sure. I mean, you know, Aaron Rodgers got one. You know, Brett Favre got one, and I forgot the other guy way back when he got one.
So you forgot Bart Starr.
There we go, Bart
Yes,
Starr.
2.
Oh, yeah, that's 2 else. Excuse me. But you know, I mean,
You gonna piss me off. You gonna piss me off. I see where this is going. You gonna frustrate me.
glad to be back, guys. But yeah,
He might not be in after this. After the way this is going.
yeah, man. But yeah, nah, the Raiders. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like you do have to mention them in terms of history. Same thing with the Packers, Cowboys. Got to mention them. You know, it's just it's
Don't
just,
say that again.
I won't.
He ain't got no tip in today, so we ain't gotta even address him today.
Oh, cool.
We ain't even gotta.
Yeah, this is not ESPN, guys.
I will not talk about the Cowboys because y'all tell me to. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, but yeah, I just thought that was an interesting take. Like, that just really just blew my mind because I was like, because I thought about the Dolphins and I'm like, man, people really do skip
Facts.
over Dan Marino.
Facts.
That's kind of easy. People argue he's probably like the best pure thrower ever.
People, and that's what's so funny because especially when me being a Packer fan, it's the Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino type, just talent wise, and now obviously Patrick Mahomes, right? So, I'm definitely not gonna say you're wrong in that regard. But you could tell the story without Tennessee. Actually, you can't.
I'm like, Eddie
For
George.
relocation purposes. You're laughing.
Man, like,
I'm just saying that it matters.
yeah, you can't. Come on.
I'll put it this way. You know what you guys are?
You gonna say something?
Very disrespectful.
I started this with the Angels. This is my fault.
As long as you admit it. You know who you guys are? You guys' place in history will be just like the Utah Jazz. Give me a second. What I mean by that, I'm not talking about the team's history. What I mean is the we throw in Tennessee and we'd be like, oh yeah, the Titans. Remember the Titans? Yeah. Remember the Titans? See that there. What we typically do, what we're gonna do rather in the future, we're gonna sit back and we're gonna talk about that Luka and AD trade. And then you're gonna have a sports nerd like yourself or myself in the room that goes, it was a 3-team trade. And everybody in the room will go, who was the third team? Who was the third? Oh, yeah, Utah. That's who you guys are. You're the throw-in. You're the tag-along. You're the little cousin playing with the controller that's not plugged up.
All we had to do was beat the LA Rams. You see how things just come full circle. All we had to do was beat the LA Rams. LA is the bane of my existence.
You learn one day to start starting me when I ain't trying to start.
Jesus Christ, man. I can't work. Come on home. Let's go. I'm done. I don't want to talk about Titans. I'm done.
Until next time, guys. Hold on, wait a minute. We're gonna close this show the proper way. Because one thing that I don't like is my phone all of a sudden not connecting to this studio. We're gonna get this right. It says it's connected. We're gonna make sure we get this right. So in the meantime, another thing about Tennessee. All right, so why do you get to bring up stuff and I don't?
No, you do. You absolutely do. I've been suffering, I just kind of, I think we kind of share the same type of pain. The way you suffer with Angels is the way I suffer with the Titans. Good players, you got to show, hey, generational talent.
Don't. Relax.
Hall of Famer.
Relax.
Eddie George, Hall of Famer.
Relax. All right, I'm going to play it without because I don't know what this man is doing.
Steve McNair, all-time great.
I'm leaving. He can talk by himself. Until next time, guys. Keep on talking.